So I actually used to live really close to this location, and I can promise you, this is not the craziest thing to happen in the Appalachian Mountains. Let's talk about it. What is up, flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Thanks to a screener, I got a chance to check out Wrong Turn, which I believe is out the day this video goes up. So I appreciate you all for tuning in. If you watch this movie, let me know your thoughts. Are you a fan of the original, and did this movie work for you? Let's get into it. So, friends hiking the Appalachian Trail are confronted by the Foundation, a community of people who have lived in the mountains for hundreds of years. Often when you get a film like this, you're going to have all different types of audience members. Those who have never seen the original, those who hold the original in high regard, those who are a bit disappointed, wanted something new or fresh, and myself. I have watched Wrong Turn, but it's been so long, I don't really remember that much about it. Now, I do remember enough to know that this film goes in a bit of a different direction. It doesn't just take the same exact formula from the original, and I like that. I like the distinctive style. I like the fact that they're changing it up. And honestly, you can't get too mad at the filmmakers, or at least the writer, because Adain B. McElroy wrote the first Wrong Turn, and he came back to write this one. So, of course, he's not going to recreate the same exact thing. He's going to do something different. And, again, it's something that I respect. Now, does the direction that this film takes work in every aspect perfectly? Is every aspect as maybe competent as I wanted it to be? Not necessarily. And it is a film that has just this overwhelming sense of familiarity surrounding it, not only because we've seen a Wrong Turn before, but because you have a group of friends, they go out in the woods, find something weird, they get sucked into this situation, and they have to find their way out. And of course, it's a non-spoiler review, but not everybody's going to get out of here. There's going to be some blood, there's going to be some gore, and you're going to get that intensity that you're hoping and expecting for a Wrong Turn film. Now, I'll talk about my negatives here in just a second, but I also want to talk about what worked. And what works extremely well is really the main character, Charlotte Vega, who plays Jen. Her character arc was completely unexpected, and even though I do have my criticisms and nitpicks, I really liked the trajectory of what she was heading into within the third act, and she does a great job as this character. You also have a big-time name in Matthew Modine, and I thought he was really good as Scott, even though that portion of the film may be a weaker portion than what was actually happening within this civilization, because following our group of friends, honestly, I wanted a bit more from that. Seeing them in this life, it almost reminds me of those shows like the one I just reviewed, Tribes of Europa, or the 100 on the CW. Very small scale compared to that, obviously, but seeing this group of people living out in the woods away from everyone else, and they have their own way of life. They have their own rules, their own laws, and our group of friends, they kind of go in and do something that everyone here is not a fan of. And you're trying to figure out at the beginning, are they fair in what they're doing? Because what our group gets involved in is something that is questionable, right? But then you learn that there are morals and ways about them that just do not add up at the end of the day. And we find a few of our friends stuck in a situation that it seems like there is no way out of. Now, of course, again, along the way, you're going to get those horror elements. Lots of head smashing and crazy visual effects on the practical level. And I really do appreciate things like that, especially if that's what you're looking for in a horror film. I feel like you're going to get a lot out of it. Now, again, I don't remember the first too fondly just because it's been so long since I've watched it, but I do remember that there was a cannibalistic aspect to the individuals in the woods, and they approach it in a very different way. So, in that regard, this is a lot different. Is it a perfect movie? Not necessarily. Do I have a bit of bias because I'm from the Appalachian Mountains? Very possibly. And, you know, growing up, especially going to college, Morehead State University, there was always this conspiracy surrounding something called Clack Mountain. You could probably Google it and find stories where there were satanic rituals taking place. And I actually had a group of friends who went up there and found a group of people who were kind of living in that area that did not like them being there. So some freaky stuff happened, and watching this movie honestly reminded me of that entire conspiracy and the stories that I heard growing up. So, again, maybe it could be me thinking back to that and being interested that this did take place in West Virginia, which is close to where I am, but you also have to judge this as a movie. There were good elements. But there were also really questionable elements. Again, Matthew Modine's story could have been fleshed out a lot more. Then you have really dumb decisions by the characters. And you have this in almost every horror movie, but there are so many moments where our characters do something, or maybe one in particular, make a decision, and I'm just like, if you would have not done that, you would not be stuck in the situation that you are. You would not be dead, right? There's just so many situations. At one point, one of our characters fires a gun in the air, but he doesn't just shoot once. He shoots 3 separate times. I'm like, dude, you just wasted 3 bullets, and you're going to need those bullets because of the situation that you're in. Why are you doing this? At least they didn't do the trope of, oh, the gun has unlimited bullets, because eventually, spoiler, it does run out, but you just wasted 3 bullets. And of course, there are cliches. Worse than that, they're very horror-specific cliches that you have seen countless times. You can almost place each friend in their own category of, well, this character is going to do this. This character is going to be stuck in this situation. And for the most part, I was correct when we inevitably got there. You also have the way that it ends, and it kind of wraps up, but there's also something that happens during the credits that is integral to the plot. And while I do respect that creative decision, I do think it could have wrapped up in a different way. There is a moment toward the end where you get like this little dream scenario, and I don't know if that necessarily worked. Again, it was creative, but I just felt like there was a better way to wrap everything up, even though the actual character arc I was happy with. But the way that they executed it, I wasn't sure. I also wish, and I know it's probably a lot to ask, we could have built up the group a little bit more, even though we know that not all of them are going to make it through this situation, but we get to a point where I'm like, okay, who is that guy? What is his relationship to her? And it becomes just this cycle of conventions, and the only character that's really fleshed out to any degree is our main character and her dad. And I'm just like, she's the only one that I care about. Really, everyone else is kind of expendable, and I don't like that feeling, even though it makes for a fun horror movie. And, you know, a horror movie like this, you're kind of just looking forward to what's going to happen next to whichever character, but characters are really important in a movie like this, and unfortunately, this film didn't have a lot of them. Actually, the individuals in the woods were fleshed out, for the most part, better than our core group. Is that a good thing? I don't know. So again, if you guys like this review, let me know. If you're looking for a good horror movie this year, drop your thumbs up down below. Wrong Turn makes creative decisions that will inevitably set it apart from its predecessors, and it works. Definitely isn't perfect, and I have a feeling a lot of people will not respond in the same way that I did. Regardless, I'm going to 62%. I do think there are moments and aspects about this film that did impress me to a level that I didn't expect to be impressed, but there are definite flaws in there that will keep people from feeling the same way. So appreciate you guys big time for watching. Let me know, are you watching Wrong Turn this week? Should be out right now. You're truly the best. Appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you soon.